It's all about style, light, and fire today on For Your Home. We'll find out what's new in contemporary chandeliers and landscape lighting. Plus, we'll learn about patio flames and electric fireplaces. We have this and lots more all coming up today right here on For Your Home. Lighting is one of the most important aspects in any home's decor. When I was selecting lighting for this contemporary project, I was faced with a question: do crystals belong in contemporary lighting? Well, this is Ryan Ranzini, and he is from Crystorama. I bet you're asked that question all the time, aren't you?
Absolutely, Vicki. Customers always want to know, can I put crystals in a modern setting? When consumers normally think of crystal chandeliers, they think of traditional chandeliers.
Exactly, like your grandmother's dining room, right?
Exactly, your grandmother's chandelier. That's not the case today. We have so many modern selections that feature crystal, because crystal is that classic element, but having that little sparkle and having that little touch of bling adds that warmth and comfort that reminds them of maybe their grandmother's crystal chandeliers, but it's more today's version.
And you know, there's nothing as beautiful as when you put candles on a dining table when you're having a party and they sparkle off the crystal.
It's amazing,
It is
right?
really great. Well, let's talk about some of the lighting that we selected for this project, because I'm really thrilled with it, not just saying that because I picked it out, but I think it's just really beautiful.
Yeah, you made excellent choices that feature some of the crystals that we have that show crystals in a transitional to modern selection that we have. With the Allure collection, with the way the draping of the crystals underneath and the cascade underneath, when it's warm, when it's on, it looks like cascade. It looks like it's a waterfall.
Little rain just coming
it's
down
amazing,
through it.
Right?
Well, you know, it's kind of difficult, and you probably struggle with this at home. You know, you're picking out lighting online, or you're looking in a catalog or a magazine, and you know, it's difficult to really understand the scale of it. So it's important, though, when you're making those decisions, to look at how big is that chandelier.
Exactly.
Is it going to be too big for my table? How tall is it? Those kinds of things. So I was really pleased when everything started arriving. I'm going, yes. Well, one of my favorite collections that we incorporated in this house were the silver leaf collections. And we've used that in the master bedroom as a chandelier. We've used it as a ceiling mount here in the foyer. And then on the hallway going down as sconces, those I think are pretty spectacular.
I think they came out great, right?
Yeah, tell me about that collection.
I love the exposed bulb too. I think it's great. So that's the brooch collection, and it is a silver leafing. What they do is they put a tacky substance against the metal and they rub the silver leafing into it, and so you see all the texture of the artist's hands, and they pull back the silver foiling. It's really an amazing production to see.
Yeah, I'm excited about both of
choice.
those. Now, I switched gears though, and in the kitchen area, in the breakfast room area, I went more to what most people would probably consider contemporary or industrial, with the metal chandelier over the table.
Right, and I love the mixing of the two. That was an excellent choice, by the way, with that's a nice drum shade shape, but with a clean wrought iron texture of that nice bronze, and so it kind of marries the trend of a drum shade, which we have in the dining room. But this version is a nice clean and open, and that bronze frame is nice warm with a nice crystal ball underneath.
Yeah, we had to add a little bit of crystal to it.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we carried that same look right over the bar area with the sconces, that circle motif that we have going on.
The circle repeated pattern looks great.
Yeah, and you know, in the powder room, you know, if you're doing a powder room at your house, please add a little bling, add a little drama and excitement. I always say that's the one room, regardless of your style, that you can really get out there. I mean, paint the walls black, paint them shiny.
Turn up the volume.
Yeah, because that's the one spot that people go in and they go, wow, this is kind of fun.
Exactly.
So in there we chose something that's a combination of all kinds of metals and materials.
Yep, that's a great choice. The Mirage collection, it's we wanted it to look like a wedding ring. And when you look at it, you have the shade over a ring, and then we have these nice crystals that are like infused into the ring of the arm, and it looks like a wedding ring when you look at it. It's really spectacular.
I like it a lot.
Great choice.
Well, we switched gears up completely going into the living room, because in here we have an asymmetrical fireplace mantle, and you know, we've gone back and forth with designs on that because the wall, it's a long story you probably don't want to hear, but the wall is not even, and so we had to be very creative with the design, and so we haven't got those installed yet, but they're a combination of jute and metal and rock crystals. Tell me about that concept.
Yeah, it's actually our first time using rock crystal. So we mixed these little glass beads and rock crystal. And the rock crystal, the one that we selected is like this, it's kind of a warm yellow tone almost. And it picks up the nice hand-applied rope that you'll see at the very top. And the warmth color combination just is really nice. Yeah,
well, I'm excited about it, and I hope that people, when they're thinking about choosing lighting for any kind of setting, that crystal will absolutely be on their list.
Of course it should be. Yeah.
Now, we upgraded the lighting throughout this entire house by installing 4-inch halo downlights. Now, if you're thinking about doing a remodeling project at your house, seriously consider replacing the old-fashioned 6-inch recessed cans with new ones. You know, the new fixtures are so much more advanced. They provide a much warmer light. It makes your furnishings look better. It makes your colors truer. And most importantly, they are also dimmable. The old ones, you couldn't do that. And from a designer standpoint, that's an important feature. You can also install these in wet locations like in a shower, and in our case, underneath a porch. Now, the best part about replacing that old lighting with new lighting is the energy and bulb replacement savings that you'll receive. You know, if you take the average energy that's used by the old-fashioned 60-watt halogen bulbs, you can save $500 over the lifetime of a fixture. We installed 40 of them here. You do the math, it adds up pretty quick. Homeowners have always loved fireplaces, but they were expensive to build and almost impossible to add after construction. But not anymore, not with today's new electric fireplaces. This is Matt, and he's with Dimplex. Hey Matt, how you doing?
Fine, Vicki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing even better now that you're here, because the guys were looking at this unit and they're trying to get it installed.
Right.
And I'm so glad you're here to give them a hand, because you know, they're not used to working with electric fireplaces, nor I don't think our viewers are either.
Right.
Tell me about them. How long have they been around?
Right. The electric fireplaces actually started about 15 years ago.
Really?
And so they're certainly on the cutting edge now, and have moved a long way from where they came from their existence.
Now, this particular unit that we're putting in here, this is in the master bedroom.
Right.
And we're going to have a television, flat screen TV on the wall above it. And this unit, we're going to be recessing this unit into the wall.
Okay.
Is that the only way to install these?
Actually, you can hang this as a wall mount, what we refer to as a wall mount. So the unit would just sit on the wall.
Okay.
And then you would have a trim kit around that unit. Or as you're doing it with the recess, or you could actually fully recess the actual units.
Yeah, we're going back with a width of a 2x4. So to go all the way in, it looks like it'd have to be, what, a 2x8 wall?
Right, correct.
Okay, all right, so you really have all those options. If you don't want to do any construction, it's just hang and plug it in?
Plug it in, right, that's it.
Okay, that's very cool. All right, so we're going to recess it in, and then there's a beautiful piece of glass that goes on the front of this that trims it all out once we get it installed. Let's talk about heat, though, because in a real fireplace, you could get heat off of it. How about this?
Absolutely, you do get heat. It's a fan force heating system that's going to help push that heat out into the room. You can use that actually year round with the heating, or if the summer months you want to cut that off and have the ambiance of the fireplace, you can cut the heating element off, and then that way you get the year round use of the fireplace.
You can't do that with a real fireplace.
No, you can't.
You got to fire, you got to fire. Well, that's really good. I like the fact it can heat, it can not heat, it can be very efficient to run, and it's good for the environment.
Right.
And as a designer, I think the look is just terrific. I can't wait to see you guys get it all installed.
Oh, we can't. It's going to be gorgeous. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Decorative finishes are just as important in contemporary homes as they are in traditional homes. When I met with Vicki a couple of weeks ago, we chose the boards that we wanted to use for the different areas in the house. This was the one that she chose for the dining room, and I made up a sample board for her in the colors that work in this house. She approved it, and I'm starting to do it on the walls in here. It's a work in progress. It takes a little while to do, so I've got another day or two to work on it. The bathroom finish was another story. It is a beautiful finish. It's got a pearl over the top of it, so it's very, very reflective. And we are discovering that in that little bathroom that we're using it in, there are some things that you need to adjust as you're going along. One of the things that we used is something that Vicki was talking about earlier, and that's that famous exploding paint. So it's not really paint, it's a plaster. As you can see, it's really, really thick. And the thing that explodes about it, it doesn't really pop and explode or do anything fabulous, but it does burst open some particles that are in it. There's something inside of it. It's either, somebody told me it was either microflakes, another person told me it was ground up walnut shells. Whatever it is, when you put it on and you apply pressure on it, you can see that it makes kind of these brown and black sorts of colors in it. So if you're putting too much pressure on it, you can the difference here, it makes it very amber, and it really can change the way that the entire finish is going to look. We don't want that for this because we've got a lot of gray tones. So went back to the drawing board, and I thought, okay, we've got to come up with some finish, with a finish that looks very similar but works with her tones. Divided my board into 4 sections. I've got just a basic white, so you can see how it works on the white. These are the gray that's being used on the rest of the walls in the house. Went a couple shades darker, just because I know when you layer things, that back color tends to get a little bit lost. And then I took a little bit of a green tint and added that to the gray color. So then what I did is mixed that plaster, the exploding plaster, with a couple of other plasters just to give it a little bit of a softer finish. Easy way to apply it. I'm not going to use the trowel. You just take your sponge that was used 20, 30 years ago and start modeling it around like this. So when you play with it long enough, you come up with something like this. Now from that, you can start to see how the colors in the background are disappearing a little bit. The next step is to put a pearl on top of it. That's going to make the colors disappear even more. So as I said, you have to be very careful with how you apply the pearl so that you don't completely lose the background color and that you don't completely lose the difference between the texture, which is the roughness, and the sheen of the pearl. So as you play with that, you come up with something that looks similar to this. This probably has a little more pearl on it than I'll end up using in that little bathroom because of it's just so reflective in there. But you can see the difference between the 4 areas, how the plain white looks just like pearl. This looks a little bit gentler. This gives a little bit more of a contemporary oomph. And then this, you can barely see the green anymore.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. So I was just showing the difference between all of them. This is the one you ended up choosing. That's what we'll be using in the bathroom. And
you're doing a really good job at this, so I could like take a vacation and you could host the show for me, huh?
I'll take over for you, no problem.
Good job. This is really beautiful. Last season on For Your Home, Michael Nimitz did a beautiful chevron design up the stairs to my attic. In this house, I wanted to do something equally as spectacular, so I asked my friend Heidi Sinker to give me a hand. Hi, Heidi. How you doing?
Good. Hi, Vicki. I got your email with the ideas that you sent me for the staircase. And so I drew up a couple of ideas that we might consider.
Okay, great. What have you got in mind?
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of zebras out there, a lot of different breeds with striping patterns. So I drew up a few. Here's one where the patterns run mostly parallel to one another, and they kind of converge in the center, but they run more or less vertically up and down the staircase.
All right.
Here's one where they don't converge, and they just stay parallel to one another.
All right.
But then I also thought it might be fun to do something that looks more like an authentic zebra rug.
Okay.
And so I drew up these 2 ideas. This one, they converge at a black line in the center that you see in the zebra rugs, because
right, if
that's
you see the real rug, you see that going down.
Yeah, and that would be the part of the skin from the zebra's back, and then the stripes go down their sides. And so this one fans out a lot more horizontally, but still kind of converges in the center. And then this one hasn't got the black line down the center. It's just more freeform. The stripes widen in the middle, but they don't really touch one another.
This I love. So if we can combine this with the binding on the side, I think we've got a winner.
Okay, and we were talking about not doing this in traditional black and white zebra colors because that's a little too contrasty and bright for
what do you
in
think
here.
about gray and white?
I love the idea of incorporating the gray that's throughout the kitchen.
Okay.
What I'd like to do is use the same gray that's on the walls and the white that's on the trim.
Okay.
And then do you think that we would want to use that same gray for the binding down the sides, or would we want to go a little darker maybe?
I think that if we were to go with the cabinet color,
which is a hair darker than the wall color.
Yeah, black would be too much of a contrast, and all you'd be looking at is the black stripes. But I think if we go with the dovetail color like we have on the cabinets and on the fireplace mantle, that will tie it all in together, so that when you stand in the kitchen and you look up it just flows. Okay, one more question.
It gives a good contrast so that you defines it as a rug.
Yeah, another question that I have is, how are you going to get these designs on? Are you going to use a stencil or what?
I considered using a stencil because it's faster, but then you're going to detect repeating patterns and stripes that look like one another. And I thought it might be beautiful to just keep it really loose and free form. No 2 stripes will be the same, and I would just freehand it on after I get it all mapped out.
See, that's what I love about working with an artist. I'll just freehand it out. So, well, I can't wait to see it. And once you get it painted on here, then Dan and his crew will come back in and they'll put the polyurethane over it, just like they're going to do on the floors.
And it is going to be a water-based polyurethane, so it's not going to yellow my paint.
That's right, I promise.
Perfect.
Hey, Alicia, how you doing?
Oh, hi, Vicki. I'm great. How are you?
We were just admiring all of your great work.
Actually, I was looking at the top of the cabinets and being thankful that the moldings arrived today and we can get things finished up.
I know. I mean, I think it's all turning out absolutely beautiful. And I love the floating shelves. I think with the LED lighting under them, it's going to be a perfect display space for someone.
Yes, they're beautiful. The openness is so nice in comparison to the big kitchen cabinets.
Well, you know, we have a pantry behind the wall,
Right.
so that really takes up a lot of the storage needs that someone would have for a kitchen, giving us this opportunity. And I like that a lot. And now the plumbers can get in and put in the faucets and do everything they should do.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I was walking around the house and noticed that the laundry room looks just a little unfinished, I think. The cabinet above the washer and dryer.
You know, I do too. What do you think?
I think we could easily remedy it with a couple doors, put a shelf in there, and give the homeowner some clothes storage versus the openness of that cabinet up
Yeah,
there.
because, you know, we're all like, don't want to put our stuff away. So I think that's a good idea. I thought that too. When we looked on the design, it looked perfect, but after you see it in real life, things change, and you have to make
Exactly.
changes. That's
Yeah.
what's been great about working together. Did you also notice that we finally got the big linen closet into the master bathroom?
I did. What a relief. It looks great too in there.
Yeah, for those of you who might have missed the last episode here on For Your Home, Alicia's company did this incredible walnut linen closet for the master bathroom, and it was to go into the water closet. And when it arrived, it was one gigantic piece because it is a piece of furniture, and we couldn't get it into the room. So we had to tear out the wall, move an electrical plug, reframe, get it in. But once we got in there, it just slid right back in, absolutely perfect.
Great.
You know, yeah, I know. We were all really excited. It's an absolutely beautiful piece. So nobody's ever going to know except you guys, right?
Right.
Well, you know, I think that it all turned out beautiful. The Jack and Jill bathroom, that spa color is just absolutely to die for. It's delicious looking.
Yes, the tile in there looks great too.
I think that's all
beautiful.
just coming together. You know, in the powder room and the cabinetry there is so nice. It's just very subtle, but the floating cabinet, I like those things. It features very well.
Right.
So, well, it's been so much fun working with you on all
Yeah,
these
you guys-
projects.
You guys
know?
too, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It is so nice to see a gray kitchen for a change instead of white.
Right, a very welcome change.
Yes, it is. You know, outdoor living has become just about as important as indoor living for all of us. We can't wait to get outside. We also want to include all the luxuries of the indoors right out on our patio. This is Gregory Harris, and he's with Napoleon. Gregory, you're going to help me bring some real party time to this patio, right?
Oh, absolutely. Look forward to it.
Well, you know, what do we got here?
Well, what we have here is a linear patio flame. So now what we're doing basically is just extending outdoor heat, well, indoor heat to the outdoors, and now giving the homeowners the opportunity to get outside and enjoy a real fire pit without that mess of the firewood or
And not
anything.
smelling like that. You
Absolutely.
know, my brother's got a regular wood burning fire pit up in Maryland, and it's a lot of fun, but we all go in smelling like we've been camping out. You
Yes,
know?
this you won't have to worry about. It's nice, clean, burning heat is what you're going to get here.
Well, what I like about it is that the patio flames, or even a fire pit, all of those kind of configurations, they're much more conversational and social than a fireplace.
Very true, absolutely. So everybody can gather around and just have an enjoyable time, have cocktails, or either hang out here with the kids and just enjoy natural heat that's basically from the indoors. So now you're just extending that living space here
Yeah.
and being able to
I
take
love that.
advantage of your entire outdoor living space.
Okay, so now this is going to be, we're going to connect ours up with natural gas. It's going to be
Absolutely, yes.
hardwired to that.
Right.
And can you also run these off of propane tanks
You sure
too?
can. You can definitely run it off of propane. So either way you want to go, it's still going to give you maximized heat, about 60,000 BTUs.
Wow,
so
that's a lot.
it is a true heater outdoors.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so now we've got a top over this. This is a stainless steel top, and it's
Right.
covered up to protect it. So that top goes on it when you're not using it to keep it clean.
Absolutely, it does.
And then that goes off, and what do we have inside of it?
And then what you're going to have inside basically is going to be the media here, and this is your topaz crystalline emerald bed that's just going to go down.
Fancy name? Say that one more time.
Topaz crystalline emerald bed.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay.
So really nice, really fancy. It's going to give you a really nice, beautiful heat coming up from. You're right. Yes.
Well, this too, the long linear lines of it is so contemporary, and that's what I love because that's the style of this house. It's going to go right here between these two big cypress posts that we have, and then the patio is going to extend on beyond that. So it's really a welcoming site that we have. Now, over on the other side, we got our workers, and they're working on our grill area.
Yep, absolutely. So, and what I've chose for you over here, Vicki, is a BI Pro 500. So it's a built-in grill head here, and it's about 30-inch grill head. You don't need a huge grill head outdoors because pretty much, if you look at it, the majority of people only use a small portion of their grill anyway.
Well, the price of beef right now, you can't afford to fill it all up anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, this one is going to have a nice countertop that is going to go out all the way around the edges so that people can like walk up like a walk-up bar kind of thing. And I think that's a good choice, Gregory, because if we had a big grill, it would just be like blocking everybody's view.
Exactly. So now everybody can still congregate around the grill and then just getting the hot food right off the grill and
come
just
right
sit
on
down.
over by the Patio Flame.
Yes.
Now we need a bar, Gregory. Got to get a bar set up there.
That's a good idea. I like that too. We can do something about that as well. Absolutely.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best lighting designers in the country is standing right here with me. This is Jeff Dross. And Jeff and I have been doing projects together for a long time, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Known each other for a while as well.
That's for sure. Now, Jeff usually works with me on the interior of our projects. We're lighting kitchens and interior spaces, but this time we're talking outdoors.
That's right. And you were good enough to send a plot plan. I was able to do some sketches. Sent all the equipment down, and I figured I'd come down here, take a look, and see if everything's going together well, and to see if anybody has any questions.
He really wants to make sure that they have his vision because it's a spectacular one. Let's start with the one for the front yard.
Absolutely. Well, you know, you have this wonderful retaining wall here, so what I've done is I placed some hardscape lights underneath the capstone all the way across to the end.
And what will they do?
Well, they'll graze this really nice stone across the face down to the ground, give you kind of a sense of depth as you're approaching from the front gateway. Place these path lights here so that there's plenty of light when you come up these steps. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Normally, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't put those in grass, but because you've used this artificial turf, it's actually going to be a really nice installation.
No one's going to be mowing or putting equipment around them, so it's going to work really good.
Yeah, it sure will.
Well, you know, once we get through with all this mud, and let's hope it's really soon, it's an ongoing saga around here, but there's a beautiful little brick sidewalk that goes out to the street, and we're in an urban setting, as you can hear with the traffic. We're having a new gate down at the end of it. There's going to be path lights here too, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, yeah. There will be scattered pell-mell down the path.
Okay, you know, because so many people now are moving to an urban setting and they're using their front gates and their sidewalks, and we really need to make sure it's well lit.
Absolutely.
You know? Okay, so the front of the house, the lights that you selected to go by the doorways, I really love that look.
Yeah, they're very nice. The white glass matches the painting around the front door. The architectural bronze looks very similar to the window framing. It's a very nice compliment to the structure.
It goes together really well, I think so. So I like that, and we've used those all around the property.
Right.
Out in the back, we have a lot of great features out there. Tell me what you've planned to do.
Absolutely. We've got a beautiful pergola across the back of the house. So what I've done is I've used actually these very same little lighting fixtures, but I've placed them in the top of the pergola, and I've put them and scattered them across the roof area.
Just randomly?
Just randomly. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you the visual appearance of moonlighting kind of coming through that pergola. So there'll be little spots of light on the ground.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah,
it's so romantic, Jeff. I love that.
Absolutely. It'll look really great.
Okay, now we have a hardscape patio that's going in, a pavers, and then a sidewalk that's going to go out to the road. What kind of lighting are we going to do for that pathway?
Well, again, we'll do pathway lighting there, but I don't like to put path lights like little soldiers in a row every 12 feet or whatever. I like to place them just strategically throughout that landscape area. If there's a bend in the curve, if there's some piece of planting that is of some interest that you might want to call attention to it. So they're just scattered through there.
I like that idea, because so many times they just line it up. So
yeah, and that really is
scattering it around.
Yeah, it's kind of visually unappealing. And your eyes will help you get from one light to the next if there is a little bit darkness.
Okay, now let's talk just a brief minute about the way you're going to light up the building, because this is an old 30-year-old brick home. How are we going to make it look spectacular to people that are driving by?
I always like to try to find the architectural features that are on the house that make it of some interest. Of course, you don't want lights shining in the window. You don't want the lights at the front door, because if somebody were to walk out, they'd get blinded. So you look for architectural features, and I love this cornerstone feature that's been built into this house, as well as the dental pattern across the top, because when the lights shine up, they'll get some sort of a shadow and light pattern going up that wall, and you'll have a shadow and light pattern across the dental as well.
Oh, I love that. So look for the things that are the most interesting on your house, and then light them.
Absolutely.
And then play with it. I can tell I'm going to be out here at night, right? Moving
That's
the
right.
light
You're going to be
forward, backwards until I get it just right.
The more you know about light, the more you're going to do that.
We have a long punch list of things to get done here at this house, and only a few days left. Join us next time right here on For Your Home, when I'm going to be decorating this show house. You know you can't wait to see how it turns out. Join us next time right here on For Your Home. Okay, Manuel, what do you want? How about that, huh? Okay, what? Well, we have a long punch list of things to... Let me start again. Ready? See, when I have a cocktail around here, I want to be able to say I helped build this grill. No mud in here, huh?
No.
Okay. We have a long punch list of things that have to get completed at this house, and we only have a few days left to do it. So I guess I better get busy and lend them a hand.
Get out.
Get out. Hi,
They just stood back there and then they went.
You can't get rid of these people. Jeez.